Hi you guys, welcome back to Mayfield Ranch. I'm Katie and today I'm going to show you how to dehydrate jalapeno peppers so you can preserve those and use them later. So the first thing I'm going to do to get ready to dehydrate these peppers is I'm just going to cut the tops off and any bad spots. So in this case, just cut it off. I'm going to put that to the side and I'm going to go through this bowl of peppers and I'm just going to do the same thing and I will show you how I chop them up. I don't slice them up with a knife. I just cut the tops off of them and I'm going to use my Ninja to chop them up real small. So I'll show you that next. I'll bring you guys back as soon as I get all the tops cut off of these. So I wanted to show you guys this one. Some of the jalapenos have like marks on them from just being a little bit older. This one's been on the plant a little bit longer, so it's not red, but it does have these marks. It doesn't hurt anything. You can definitely use these. And I also thought I'd show you this. So there's different colors of the jalapeno, all the way from green to like a deeper red color, almost dark, almost looks black. So all jalapenos, they're all gonna be perfect. They're gonna taste great. Use them all. So if you guys have chickens, they love to get these jalapeno tops. If not, you can just throw them out in your compost bin. I'm going to use my Ninja. It's a professional 1500 watt blender essentially. I'm going to use it as a food processor. I'm using this attachment that comes with it. Put it right in here. I'm going to throw all the jalapenos in here that will fit. I'm going to put the lid on it. We'll put it on the Ninja, chop it up super tiny, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. So we'll fill this thing up. I'm not going to smash them in here super tight. They need room to kind of move around, but I'm going to fill it pretty good. So that's good right about here. Now there's like an inch or two of space, but that's fine. I want it to be able to spin around, have a little bit of room. So let's put this on and I'll show you what that looks like. We're going to take our lid. So I'm using the Ninja. If you guys have something else, that's fine. On mine, there's an arrow. So I'm going to line that. You can see here, there's an arrow with the handle, arrow on the lid. I'm going to line it. I'm just going to press it down and close the lid. So that's nice and secure. Now we're going to place that here, and there's arrows on the Ninja to turn it. It's going to lock it right into place. I'm going to turn the power on, and I'm just going to pulse it. Excuse the noise here, it's going to get loud. Okay, so that's looking kind of small, you can see from the side. So this is pretty full, and you can see I have some pieces in here that are a little bit bigger than I would like to see. So I've overfilled it. That's fine. I was trying to get away with doing it once. We'll have to do a second blend on it. So I'm just gonna set a couple of these to the side. Let's get the dehydrator ready. I'll show you what we're gonna do next. Okay, let me show you a couple different options depending on what dehydrator you have and maybe what extras came with it. Here's the tray it came with, and then it came with one mesh tray that can go over it. See how these are a little bit bigger? These are very fine. So I can put this over it and we could put these small blended up peppers. Nothing should fall through. I only have one of these small mesh trays though. So what I do is I use this one as the template and I put some parchment paper on the other ones. So this is the parchment paper that I'm using. Just regular parchment paper. I use this as a template. I cut parchment paper for the rest of my trays so that they basically fit, and it works pretty well. Okay. So I got a spatula. I'm just going to start putting some of this on. I'm going to try to avoid some of the bigger pieces. It would have been better if I had just left a little more space and let them be smaller. I do this all the time though, you guys. I try to do it the easy way, and then it takes a little longer. And it's not a big deal. If you have bigger pieces that you're going to dehydrate, it's not such a big deal. It's just going to take longer. So you want to try to get roughly the same size pieces. We'll take the bigger ones, set them to the side so that we can get those back in there. Back in the Ninja, and so they'll be small. Now you want to put this pretty thin so that you evenly dry and dehydrate everything pretty evenly, and it'll finish around the same time. If you have one of your trays a lot thicker or some of the pieces are different sizes, then it's going to just take a different amount of time to finish the dehydration process. That's not really a big deal, but it certainly is more convenient when it all finishes up at the same time. Makes it a little easier. Okay, so we're on our last tray. So I'm gonna scoop everything off the sides. I'm gonna try to get every little last bit of this out of here so that we get everything and nothing's going to waste. Spread this out, and then we'll get this loaded in the dehydrator, and I'll get it turned on, and we'll show you guys how long it takes to get everything dry. So you see this one, it's probably gonna dry first because there's just not as much, on this tray, but that's okay. Let's give it a go. So let's put it in the dehydrator so that we can turn it on. So they're all full. You can see there's our mesh one on top. We're gonna take our door, and we're just gonna slide that in the front here so we can get this turned on. I'm gonna press power. First it's gonna say the time. I'm gonna up that, and we'll just put it on as high as it goes because I don't know how long it's gonna take, but we'll come back and check it. So let's put it on for 19 hours. Let's look at the temperature. I wanna drop that temp down. I'm gonna do 131. So we're gonna let that go at 131 degrees for 19 hours. Now we're gonna come back and check it before 19 hours. I just don't want this to turn off before I come check it. Okay guys, it's been 10 hours, so we're going to turn this off, pull the lid off. It'll take just a second for the fan to turn off, but let's pull this out and see what it's looking like so far. So you can see it's dried down quite a bit. It's been 10 hours since we turned it on. Let's pull out another tray. So the bottom tray didn't have a lot on it, so let's see what that's looking like. As you can see, it's getting pretty dry. So it's looking really good. I'm gonna let it cool for a few minutes and we'll come back and test it out once it's cool. Okay, so we've let this cool down just a few minutes, just enough so it's cool and I can determine whether or not it's dry enough. So I look at some of these pieces that are a little bit bigger and they still have some flexibility to them. They're not super crispy. So I'm actually gonna put this back on and let it go a few more hours and we'll come back and check on it again. I do think parchment paper is gonna take a little bit longer than this open mesh screen. I can definitely tell this seems to be a little bit drier. So maybe the airflow is a little bit better, but since I only have one of these, we make do with what we have. So I'm gonna put this back on, we'll come check on it in a bit. So we'll get this turned back on. 10 hours is fine. And then temperature, I wanna also drop that back down to the 131. So we're gonna let that go. Okay, so we come back, this is all done. Take this little front lid off and pull out a tray and we'll just check it out. So I've let this cool, it's off, I've let it cool. So I'm gonna check it, I'm just gonna make sure that these break and not bend. Most of them are tiny little pieces, so it's completely dry, so we're ready to put it in our jar. And I'm just going to take the ends of this parchment paper. So if you want, if it's kind of sticking to it, you could scoot it towards the middle. I'm gonna try to do this without making a mess. We'll see how I do here. So I just take the ends of the parchment paper, fold them together, and then we'll put it in our jar here. Pretty good. I'm just using the spoon to knock this down a bit. There's a little bit of space in here, which is what I want. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid on. And now what you're gonna do is we're gonna leave this on the counter for about a week. And every day I'm just gonna come by and check it. So if you can hear this, that's a sound you wanna hear. I'm gonna roll it around and just make sure it's not sticking to the sides of the jars and it's not sticking to each other. So every day we'll kind of come check it. If you're new to it, I'd recommend use two jars and just fill them about halfway full. That way you can fully move it around and check it. I've thoroughly dried this. I've completely dried it. I'm 100% sure it's dry, but I'm still gonna condition it just to be safe before I put it away for storage. And condition it means just check it every day, like I said, for about a week. And once it's good, we'll put it away. So just be sure to check your jar for any signs of moisture every day for about a week, and you can put it away for long-term storage. Thanks you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you found this valuable. And if you did, be sure to subscribe so you can see my next videos on dehydrating food that I'm growing out in my garden. See you guys next week.